having me. Yes, I wear many hats. I'm mostly a theater director and an actor, and I'm the chair of the theater department at my university. And what I'd like to do is to take the opportunity to shed some light about Israeli theater, because I think that it's an interesting case study and that we have a lot to offer, I think, on the international, for the international field. When I say that Israeli theater is an interesting case study, I'm referring first of all to the fact that, to the best of my knowledge, Israel is the only country in the world that has, for example, its national theater established some 31 years before the actual state. Our national theater was established in 1917 in Moscow, and the State of Israel came to life only in 1948, some 31 years later. We are also the only country in the world whose national theater is not based in the capital city. The National Theater is not in Jerusalem, but unfortunately, or not unfortunately, in Tel Aviv, because when the founders of the National Theater came to Israel eventually and they wanted to build a theater in Jerusalem, they were told, enough is enough, guys, go and do theater, which is considered in Jewish tradition something very immoral and dangerous. Do it at this young secular city of Tel Aviv. The holy city of Jerusalem is not yet ready for having a theater of its own. And I don't know if you know the Jewish prayer, Leshana Abaa B'Yerushalayim HaBnuya, next year in Jerusalem. We keep saying it in regard to the National Theater. Maybe next year it will be built or moved to Jerusalem, because to this day it's still in Tel Aviv. We also take pride, and this is something which always people are taken by surprise by this fact, but Israel is a country of some 9.5 million citizens, and every year there are more than 6 million theater tickets being sold. So we take pride in the fact that we have the highest rate of theater goers per capita in the world. When I teach theater in American universities, I taught, for example, last year at American University in Washington, D.C., I always told my students that, no offense, please, but with all due respect to your Broadway in New York or the West End in London, what keeps the industry going in these places are not the local people, once again with all due respect, but mainly the tourists. Whereas in Israel, in Tel Aviv, for example, there are every evening some 50, 60 different shows performing to full houses most of the time, and it's the Israelis who flock the venues. Israelis are really in love with theater. By the way, for reasons which I can very easily point out, because it's been something which was out of reach for Jewish people for so many years. You know that in Western culture, we are speaking about the origins of theater back in ancient Greece. So it's a history of some 2,500 years. Jewish people started practicing and enjoying theater only 150 years ago. We are very new to the business. So I think that, relatively speaking, where the rest of the world may be a bit fed up with theater by now, we are really new to it and are very enthusiastic about it, and Israelis are really in love with theater. The scene is very live and kicking, and since I wear many hats, what I try to do is not to give a lecture, a talk, but actually to try, and I brought with me some clips from various current productions which are taking place in theaters in Israel right now, and some scenes, selected scenes, which I'd like to read to you. And for me, I must say the most important thing about theater is having a dialogue. So I'll be more than happy, to hear your questions, comments, compliments, whatever you'd like to. I'd like to really point out what is actually the central preoccupations of Israeli writers, what we deal with. I must address it at the very beginning. I want to put it, on the table straightforward, that that these are very challenging times for us. I'm here as a Fulbright scholar right now at the University of Iowa, and I'm really happy to be away a bit from what's going on back home, because it's horrible. We navigate through an ongoing, harrowing situation, war. terrible government from our side as well. I won't hide my opinions. We are really facing some harsh reality, both us and our neighbors. And I'd like to show you that Israeli theater and Israeli artists are actually, most of them have their own voices, and people and artists are not their leaders, are not their governments, and there is a total freedom of speech in Israel, and I'd like to show you how we reflect on the current reality as well. There is a lot of political theater going on too. But I'll start with some lighter things, and then we'll get back to it later on. The first thing I wanted to share with you is from a production which now in Iowa I learned that actually it started there, because I'm there as part of there is a very prestigious, if I may say so, it sounds not the most modest thing to say, but there is an international creative writing program there. And a couple of years ago, there is a famous Israeli novelist named Dorit Rabinyan, and she was there, and it turns out the head of the program just told me when I gave this talk last week there, and I presented this piece that I'm about to show you, he told me, oh, you know, it started here, because when she was there a couple of years ago, she met an Arab and a Palestinian writer who was there at the same residency, and the two of them fell in love, and eventually she wrote a novel which was very successful in Israel named All the Rivers, which tells the story of a Jewish girl meeting an Arab guy in New York City while they are both students there, and they are having some kind of a love affair, knowing that they live on a borrowed time, because knowing that once they get back to Israel, probably both families will oppose the relation and will put an end to it. And she wrote it, and now at the Comedy Theater, which is the Municipal Theater of Tel Aviv, there is a production, a stage adaptation of this novel, and I'd like to show you one of the first scenes from this, because I think it will serve me as a great example to show you what I think is the most characteristic of our dramaturgy and playwriting, is dealing with serious, heavy subject matters, but injecting a lot of humor into it. And I think this mixture of humor and seriousness is something which is unique. This is, I think, something very significant, or one artistic merit which I'd like to point out. So we are, no, it's not this one. I skipped the first video.
Okay.
The reason I picked this one to be the first example is because it is also performed in English. The scene takes place in New York. This Jewish girl is in her apartment, and one day there is a knock on the door, and FBI agents come to her to investigate her. And I think it speaks for itself, and it's performed in Tel Aviv in English, this specific scene, because it involves the FBI agents, so I wanted to start with this one. Later on, we'll have shows performed in other languages, but with English subtitles that you'll have to read. But this one is in English. So, All the Rivers.
You were born in Israel?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. And your parents?
My parents are from Iran.
Iran?
They immigrated from Tehran in the 60s.
Sit down, please. So, both your parents are Iranian.
Iranian Jews, yes.
Mm-hmm. And you, yourself? Have you visited Iran recently?
Never?
Are you sure? Maybe you visited relatives.
As you know, Iran is not a recommended place to visit for Israelis.
But according to what I see here, you've had quite a few visits to Egypt in the past
To
several
Egypt?
years.
Oh yes, to Sinai. We used to go there a lot when I was a kid, but we don't go there anymore. It became dangerous.
Is this your laptop?
Yes, but...
May I?
Excuse me.
Ma'am! Ma'am, do you use your computer outside of this apartment, in public places?
I don't understand why
Ma'am,
he needs...
were you at Aquarium Cafe on the corner of 9th and 6th Avenue the day before yesterday?
Akvarium?
Tuesday evening.
Yes, I was there
New York
around...
State Police received a complaint from a man who saw you at Aquarium Cafe.
What men?
A man who reported a Middle Eastern-looking female involved in suspicious activity.
פעילות חשודה? על מה הוא
This
מדבר?
man claimed he saw you writing emails in Arabic.
But I don't speak Arabic.
So what is this?
This is Hebrew. This is not Arabic.
Hebrew.
Hebrew.
L'chaim,
What?
shalom.
Oh. Can you read this?
Read what?
This email right here from Noam Darul.
Yeah, who is Noam to you?
He's my boyfriend. My ex-boyfriend.
Okay, read it to us, please.
In Hebrew?
Yes, please.
But it's in Hebrew.
Out loud, please.
Can I read a different email, please?
No, read this one.
So, being Middle Eastern, these days in New York. So this is performed in English, as I said. By the way, the scene is very live and kicking and very multicultural. We have shows in Hebrew, of course, the majority, but also in Arabic, in English, in Yiddish. I think it's in Russian. I think it's just a matter of time till we will have shows performed in French as well, because there are a lot of French newcomers who made Aliyah in recent years. So the scene is very multicultural, and this is a Hebrew show, but this scene is performed in English. So this is an example, I think, of the way to deal with the neighborhood we live in and the conflict, but through a very personal story and as I said, with a bit of humor. Maybe another example is the one I want to read to you, because I was personally involved in this production. I was the dramaturg, and it was performed at the Municipal Theater in Beersheba in the south of Israel a couple of years ago, and it was a play written by an Israeli relatively young playwright. Her name is Yael Ronen. She was, I think, 22 or 23 when she wrote it, and it's called The Guide to the Good Life. And once again, I think it speaks for itself. I want to read to you a monologue from this play. It tells the story of youngsters these days in Israel, and I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago we had these terrible times where there were lots of suicide bombers and buses exploding in the streets, and we had so the play takes place in that time. And one of the characters, which I wanted to share with you, her name is Ravit. She's a single young woman in her 30s, longing to get married, to get to know somebody. And one day she calls this group, I'm sure you have it here too, where they give you these vouchers, these special discounts. She gets coupons. How do you call it? Like vouchers for coupons? Okay, so she gets it from a company which is called Beauty Bargain, and she calls them. And a typical, I think, look at the reality of youngsters these days. I'll take a mobile phone. So I'm wearing the actor hat right now. Okay, so Ravit. Hello? Beauty Bargain? Yes, I'd like some information, please. The slimming soap that liquidizes body fat, is it painful? Okay. And the body fat that melts away, what? Does it just wash off in the bathroom? Great. So I'd like to order one of these, please. Oh, one more thing. The electronic breast muscles shaper, it doesn't actually electrify them. What does it? How do you attach it to your breasts? Oh, vacuum. Lifting and reaffirming. And does it enlarge them as well? Oh, that's what the natural capsules are for. Yes, could you put it on my list, please? They don't give you cancer, do they? Tested on what? Ferrets, others. What's a ferret? A rodent. Oh, ferrets. They are called ferrets. They are very smelly. What do I get with it? An electrical vibrating belt for shaping the abdomen muscles. For how much extra? Oh, undetectable under any item of clothing. Yeah, that's fab. One last thing. Those Wonder Drops Viva Young and Viva Lady, how can using them create perfect harmony with your partner and significantly improve your quality of life? Oh, the libido, wow. And the youthful energy. Yeah, that's lovely, youthful. Yeah, that's really amazing. Yes, I'd like the ladies. And the men's too, just in case. Okay, hold on a second. Don't add it all up yet. The lifting cream for the forehead. How high does it lift? Oh, what a brilliant idea. All right, put it on my list too. Yeah, and tot it all up. I see. can I pay in installments? Okay, I'll pay in 18 installments, yeah? That's where I'll hardly notice it. Gosh, what a wonderful deal. A beauty bargain indeed, thank you. A couple of days later, it's the middle of the night, she knocks hysterically on her friend's door in the middle of the night, and her friend opens the door, and there she is, and she says, thank you, thank you. I don't know what I've done without you. I had no one else to call. My mom would kill me if she knew I'd got arrested. You are an angel. Okay, Ravit, calm down and tell me slowly what happened. How come you attacked a policeman? And why the hell were you detained as a dangerous terrorist? Because they thought I was a suicide bomber. What? Yes, I bought this electric vibrating belt for slimming and shaping the abdomen. You can wear it under any piece of clothing, and it's completely undetectable. Have it on at home, at work, wherever. I had a date in that grill bar. The guy was inside already. I was about to go in when the security man shouts at me, hold it, ma'am, stop right there. What's that under your shirt? And I said nothing, because it's none of his business. It really is none of his business. And I keep walking in, and so then he jumps me, he pushes me to the floor, and he starts yelling, a suicide bomber, a suicide bomber. He tried to rip my shirt off, pervert, so I beat him. And then he handcuffed me and started shouting at me in Arabic, Waqif wala batuhak. And then the police came and schlepped me away in case there were any more bombs around. Can I sleep at yours tonight? Please. So once again, I think another example of, this, what I suggested before, this mixture of humor and the heavy subject matter, which I think, once again, is something very typical, maybe Jewish humor, throw anything at us and we'll find a punch. In the end, maybe it's some kind of a resilience, I don't know, but this is something which is very, I think, characteristic. By the way, prior to coming here, I suddenly remembered that there was this late American comedian, George Carlin, and he once said, I quote it a lot, he once said that the world is a madhouse, and you Americans, have the privilege of having front row seats. So I beg to differ. I think we also have some very great seats, in this madhouse called the world. And these writers, I think, are trying actually to navigate through these insane times. Another central preoccupation of our writers and theater is naturally the Holocaust. The Holocaust, actually, at any given time, you can find at least one play which can be classified as Holocaust play being performed. If you are for the exact data, I would say that, if I may use this term, that the Holocaust is the most popular, I think, theme or historical event in Israeli art in general, in theater in particular. There are over 120 Israeli original plays which can be categorized as Holocaust play. We keep coming back to this awful scene of the crime, first generation, second generation, third generation. By the way, another data is that 77, I checked it out this morning, 77% of the repertoire of what is being performed is based on Israeli original writing. Of course, we do the classics, the Broadway musicals, but 77, the vast majority of what is being performed is original writing. And the two central preoccupations, as I said, is one, the conflict, the ongoing war and political issues, and the other one is the Holocaust. And to demonstrate this fixation with the Holocaust, I brought you a trailer of a production which I find very interesting because of the cultural exchanges which it embodies. This is actually based on the most successful Israeli play ever, named Ghetto, by a playwright named Joshua Sobol. It's a show which to this day had over 85 productions worldwide, written back in 1982, but ever since then, really, at the National Theatre in London, here in New York, I think there was a production at Lincoln Center a couple of years ago, really all over the world, over 80 productions to this day. And this Holocaust play tells the incredible story of the theater company which performed and acted in the midst of horror inside the ghetto of Vilnius during World War II. There was apparently an enormous cultural activity in the worst terrible conditions of the ghettos and the death camps, and people kept exchanging books in libraries and going to concerts and to theater shows. And when Joshua Sobol, the playwright, learned about it, he said, I must write a play which will praise this victory of the human spirit over the harsh, even in the most horrible circumstances. And the play is about this, the power of art, if you wish, even at terrible times. And what I'd like to show you is the trailer of a Chinese production of this play, because what I find very interesting is that the Israeli play, originally written in Hebrew, is actually based on a historical research that he did, and it is based on this actual company performed back then in Yiddish. They did songs and sketches in Yiddish. He translated them to Hebrew to include them in his Hebrew original play. I want to show you the Chinese version. So look how many exchanges we have here. A Yiddish poems translated into Hebrew, translated into Chinese, being performed here by a Moroccan actress who moved to China, married a Chinese actor, and she is performing these originally Yiddish poems now in Chinese, although she's from Morocco. And Joshua Sobol directed the production. I don't know if it's in Beijing or in Shanghai. I'm not sure. And the interesting thing about it that they rehearsed it and opened with it just a week prior to COVID in 2019 or 2020 when 2020 COVID started, and they managed to perform it for a week, and then they had to close the performance, the production, and only now they reopened, and these days it's performing once again in China. So Yiddish poems, coming into an Israeli play, translated into Chinese, being performed by Moroccans. I think it's an interesting case. So just the trailer of the Chinese production of Ghetto.
春天映着日落的忧伤，今天和明天依然没有改变。上帝的力量，季节又闪亮，季节地送来了春光，鲜花又盛开，鸟儿又歌唱，当我泪水没法阻挡。他们说歌里只是有着情望，他泪水让我眼蒙。你看我的爱世界如沧海，我想你也无法遗忘。春天，哦，美丽的春天，它已经走远，阳光也淡。春天映着日落的忧伤，今天和明天依然没有改变。春天映着日落的忧伤，今天和明天依然没有改变。
Yeah. By the way, her Chinese husband is there. He is playing the leading part of the head of the Judenrat. If you're familiar with the play, that's her husband. So that's I thought it's an interesting these cultural exchanges of this play. Maybe we'll move to some other issues that we address. For example, I wanted to share with you something which is now being a major hit at the National Theatre, and it's called, let me just find it, it's called The One My Soul Loves. It will take us to LGBTQ issues, which are also very, very strong and very, very much dealt with in recent years. This is a play which is based on a true story. A couple of years ago, we had this terrible event of savage shooting in a gay bar in Israel, targeting gay youngsters, both homosexuals and lesbians. And the play is actually based on a true story of a boy who went there that night. Luckily enough, was just injured, not murdered, but he was hospitalized, and he comes from a religious family. And the play is actually about his mother, who is summoned to the hospital. To this point, she didn't have a clue of her son's sexual identity, and it turns out that he has to unexpectedly come out to his family in these circumstances just a couple of hours after his life was miraculously saved. And it deals with, I think, the issues of acceptance and the tension between religious parties and religious groups to more secular ones, which is a crucial tension in Israeli society. And let's see. It's called the One My Soul Loves. It's one of the opening scenes of this play, now being performed at Habima at the National Theatre. This is also something, I think, to put such a production not in a fringe venue, but on the stage, the main stage of the National Theatre was a big statement, actually, dealing with LGBTQ issues on the main stage of the theatre in Tel Aviv, not in Jerusalem. I remind you, was a big deal. And this is one of the opening scenes where she comes to the hospital. He's in the operation theater, right? Mm-hmm. You call it theater in hospitals as well. So her son is inside the theater there, and she meets outside his boyfriend, actually, for the very first time. And she's very religious, Jewish woman. Let's see.
איך אמרת שאתה מכיר את יונתן?
שנינו אוהבים את ליידי גגה.
ליידי מי?
גגה. Just dance, gonna be okay. Just dance. זה השיר שהיה ברקע לפני שהוא נכנס והתחיל לראות בכולם.
כמה אנשים, אתה יודע, איך להגיד את זה, רגילים, הולכים למקום כזה.
כן, כל מי שרוצה, אין סלקציה.
מה זאת אומרת?
שהוא פתוח לכולם. בואי נראה, הומואים, לסביות גם, יש בי, יש גם טרנס, יש את אלה שלא סגורים על עצמם, באמת כולם. גם את יכולה לבוא אם את רוצה. למה לא? לא נראה לי שלא אכפת.
אני חושבת שזה סטייה.
וואו.
סליחה שאני אומרת לך את זה ככה, אבל זה אסור. זה נגד הטבע.
אני לא חושב שאת מבינה כל כך.
אני מבינה. מבינה הרבה יותר ממה שאתה חושב שאני מבינה. זה ילדים מסכנים אומללים שמחפשים תשובה. יש אנשים שמנצלים את זה.
אני לא מסכן.
לא, אני לא אמרתי שאתה מסכן.
ואני לא מנצל אף אחד.
אני אלך להביא לי משהו לאכול.
קפיטריה סגורה, אבל יש לך מכונות בסוף המסדרון.
אני אסתדר.
Yeah. And then she realizes about her son. Maybe just another short, another scene. Maybe further later on, the son finds himself actually forced to undergo. I don't know how you call it. I think conversion therapy. So there is another very powerful scene. Maybe we'll see it too, and then move to another thing. Yeah, the conversion treatment. Yeah.
אני רוצה לבקש ממך לעצום עיניים ולדמיין את תמר, חברה שלך.
אוקיי.
עכשיו אני רוצה שתנסה לדמיין אותה בעירום.
אוקיי, אבל אני לא...
תתאר לי אותה. איך שאתה מלטף את השיער שלה, איך שאתה נוגע בה, מה זה גורם לך להרגיש.
היא יפה?
נו טוב, אבל איך נראה הגוף שלה?
אני מצטער, אני לא יכול...
רגע, בוא תנסה. בבקשה. שב. תדמיין את החזה שלה. איך שאתה נוגע בו.
אני מצטער, אני לא יכול...
אתה צופה בפורנו?
לא.
יונתן, מה אמרנו? כאן בחדר הזה אנחנו אומרים את האמת, את כל האמת ורק את האמת.
קצת...
תתאר האנשים ההורים.
אני חייב?
תעשה את זה.
יש גבר ויש אישה, הם ערומים.
מה הם עושים?
האישה שוכבת על המיטה, הגבר מעליה.
היא נהנית? זה נעים לה?
לא יודע.
היא נהנית? היא מסופקת. היית רוצה לגרום לאישה להרגיש ככה?
אני חייב להמשיך להסתכל על זה?
No, you don't have to watch it. I think this is an example which can explain why, as I said before, for many generations, Jewish religious or Orthodox authorities rejected the sheer concept of theater, because theater can, and actually does at its best, deals with questions of identity, with boundaries, actually tries to expand our horizons, and therefore the content is always a bit problematic, from an Orthodox point of view, always dangerous, immoral at times. And that's why for many, many generations, unlike other cultures, Jewish people were actually avoiding or were forbidden to deal with theater. By the way, you mentioned that I come from a comparative literature department. I just want to compare it to other fields. In literature, for example, in music, in other fields, you can't imagine, the world history of these fields without the enormous contribution of Jewish musicians or authors. Whereas in theater, all the great masters of theater, all the great playwrights, they are not Jewish. We have no representation in this field. I think if I must come up with a Jewish name which is, made it big time, I'll maybe come back to Arthur Miller, but then I'm speaking about the mid of the 20th century. All the great masters, from the Greek one, Aeschylus, Sophocles, and then later on Chekhov, Molière, Ibsen, Strindberg, Lorca, Chekhov, I say, whoever you want, Strindberg, they are all either pagan or Christian. Christianity really encouraged theater and developed it. Jewish people were not part of this game up to this, as I said, the last 150 years, as part of the Renaissance, of the Enlightenment movement, of starting to be open to other influences besides the traditional Jewish ones. So we are very new to the business, and I think this content-wise can show us why there was such an opposition. Another thing is that theater, as we learned from the great acting guru Stella Adler, for example, she used to say to her students that on stage it is always present. One other problematic thing with theater is that it's focused only on the present. It's in theater, you probably know it as theater students, but we always talk about the here and now. There is no past and there is no future. You are all involved now in the present moment. And this is also something which was very strange to Jewish thinking, which traditionally tries to educate people to be of a very long-term memory. Jewish people is all about keeping in mind long histories and having, a clear vision of, Messiah, and focusing only on the present moment seems like something which is ridiculous to Jewish thinking. That's why theater became the symbol of something not to be taken really seriously. Seat of mockers, the Talmud calls it. As I said, we are relatively new in comparison to other cultures. I'd like to go now maybe to this quotation that I put there, the slide, with a famous answer that Leah Goldberg, no, not this one. I reveal everything that I wanted to bring afterwards. Okay, there is this, if you can skip all these, a quote, yeah. I wanted to share with you, actually I can read it too, I have it here. I wanted to share with you this very famous quotation of an Israeli important and influential, no, not this one. Maybe I didn't put it in there. Leah Goldberg, exactly. I mentioned that at the beginning the environment and the ongoing situation that we live in, and Leah Goldberg was a very influential poet who refused to write about political issues and focused only on the personal one. And when she was addressed with the question why, she came up with this answer, which I'd like to share with you, and then we'll move on to some people who, in a way, went in her direction and some who opposed it. She said, the poet, and you can change it into a playwright or whatever you want, the artist, the poet is the person who in days of war is not allowed and must not forget the real values of life. The poet is not only permitted to write love poems in days of war, but he must do so. Because even in days of war, the value of love is greater than the value of murder. Not only it is the poet's right to read his poem to nature, to the blooming trees, to the children who know how to laugh, but it is his duty, the duty to remind a human being that he is still a human being, and that at any time and at any hour, the moment to become a human being again is not missed yet. And I think this is a very moving statement, and some of the artists follow her instructions and some don't. Some really address the political situation. And I'd like to read to you one example from both schools, actually. The first one is, the lighter one, is a comedy written, which became really another international hit, named Oh God, by the late Anat Gov, another playwright which died at the age, unfortunately, at the age of 59, a couple of years ago. And it's a hilarious comedy, which I highly recommend you read and maybe put it in what was it called, the venue you showed me yesterday, Studio 60? Mm-hmm. I think it's an ideal setting for this play. It's actually a two-hander, very, very witty comedy set in a clinic. We have the protagonist is a psychologist, a woman psychologist. She is in her clinic and she is about to meet for the very first time with a new patient. He is about to arrive for his first session, and in he comes, and it turns out after a couple of minutes that he is no other than God himself. God is coming for therapy. He's in a very distressed situation. He's seeking desperately for help. And the whole play is about her trying to help him, to treat him. It's a very witty comedy. Once again, if you want, confronting, religious concept and there is this ban on portraying, the image of God on stage. Here, secular theater ignores it completely. She brings God himself to stage. He looks like an ordinary man. That's why she doesn't recognize him at first sight. And I'd like to read to you the first scene, which I find very amusing, and then we'll go to other stuff. So she's in her clinic, oh God, and he comes in, he stops at a very big, colorful painting which is hanging on the wall, examines it, and after a very long pause, he says, "Good, very, very good. My son painted it. Oh, he's talented. He is autistic. Yes, I know. You know? Yes, I know. How? What, have you investigated me or something? You know, I had a feeling over the phone that you are from the security services. I am not from the security services. The Mossad, maybe? No. The Air Force? Getting warmer. So, do I sit or lie down? What are the rules here? This is my first time. And, well, with me, people usually sit, but if you want... So, who have you talked to about me? Does that bother you? Honestly, yes. But let's start from the very beginning. I am Ella, and you? Me? Yes, what's your name? I am who I am. Yes, that's obvious, but you must have a name. You can carry on calling me G. Okay, look, sir, if you are worried about publicity, I can assure you of complete confidentiality. I've got some well-known patients, and they all know that all their secrets remain in this room. The name is really immaterial. Call me whatever you want. Okay, no problem. We'll come back to that. So do you want to tell me how old you are? 5,768 next week. Oh yes, I sometimes feel that way too. So what do you do? What's your profession? You can write artist. Oh, is that why you didn't want to tell me your name? You are well known? Pretty well known. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't see an awful lot of television. So are you a creative or a performing artist? Both. In what sphere? Painting, writing? In all spheres. Ah, multi. Yes, multi. Interesting. Yes, interesting. So do you want to tell me what happened? What brought you to me? If it's difficult for you, we can begin with something else. Would you like to begin by telling me something about yourself or maybe about your parents? My parents? Yes, your parents. You know, sometimes it's easier to start from the parents. For instance, what kind of father did you have? I didn't. He died? He never existed. Oh, I see. So you were raised just by your mother? There is no mother either. No mother? From what age? From time immemorial. Oh, an orphan from birth. Yes, an orphan from birth. Oh, were you ever in therapy? No? Oh, you could have saved yourself so many years of suffering. Okay, never mind, better late than never. Yes, you are optimistic, I know. What else do you know about me? Oh, I know everything. Okay, look, I feel very uncomfortable with what's going on here. I don't think I can treat you. You are dropping me? No, it just seems to me that it won't work. You see, the starting point where you've already investigated me makes me feel very uncomfortable. I have to be honest with you, I'm not coming into this dialogue clean, and that's a very unpromising start for therapy. I'll be happy to recommend somebody else. No, listen to me. Okay, I'm listening. On condition that you tell me the truth. Okay, whatever you want to know. For instance, who are you? No, I can't tell you who I am. Why not? Because you won't believe me. Try me. I am God. I see. And how long have you felt like that? Like what? Like God. Oh, I don't feel like God. Oh, thank the Lord, because for a moment I thought you said, I am God. Okay, listen, I'd very much like to help you, really. I sense that you are in a serious distress. Oh, you can't even start to imagine. But with all the will in the world, I don't think I'm the right person to treat you. I'm a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. I'm not licensed to prescribe medication. Oh, I'm not interested in medication. Oh, it doesn't mean that you are mad or anything, if that's what's bothering you. You really aren't alone. There are lots of cases like you. You wouldn't believe how many. You have got a problem that is very common nowadays, trust me. Now, with all due respect to your research, you made a basic mistake. I specialize mainly in treating children with learning disabilities. I've got no experience in treating what you are suffering from, and I'm liable to harm you. This is Dr. Yovel's number. I'll be more than happy to call him if you like. No, wait a second. I want to understand. You see somebody in distress and you throw him out just because he's God? You are not God, sir. There is no God. Look around you. Do you think there is a God? Oh, you know that there is. Me? No, you are mistaken, sir. I told you at the outset that there is something wrong with your research. Look at me, I'm secular. I eat ham sandwiches with a cheese topping. I don't believe in God. You don't believe in God? So who have you been talking to every day for the last 36 years? This is crazy. What's happening here? Am I hallucinating or what? I'm clinically dead and this is my hallucination because I can't afford to die right now. Ella, you are not dead and you are not hallucinating. Then what is this? Am I being filmed? What? Ella, just look at me. I can't. It's me. No. Yes. Oh God, here I am. And now that she is convinced, they start the therapy sessions. So this was an example just to show you that I think we have some things, as I said before, that are not related. This is something which can be, very easily translated to any other realities besides the focusing on the Israeli one. So you have it both ways. Now let's come back to the political situation, and I want to address something which I find a very brave play written by an Israeli playwright named Maya Arad Yasur. Maybe I'll just, now it's time to go back to what I wrote there about October 7th. You know that October 7th, 2023 actually changed everything. It was the beginning of this current war and the most deadly attack on Jews ever since the Holocaust. You can find this slide back there? No, this one. Here. And it happened on this Bloody Saturday on October 7th, 2023. And the first artistic reactions to what happened was not theatrical ones, because as I said here, in general, theater is slower in comparison to other mediums. The first reactions, actually artistic reactions to what happened, came from graphic designers and people who were much more faster. You can write a post on Facebook or draw something much more quickly than writing a play or gathering people to do some kind of a theater show. So it started with I'll show you some examples, with some images and slogans that were on Facebook that same day, I think. People were very quick to react and to try to process what happened. And then later on, in the second stage, there were some street performances before a real well-made play, dramatic writing followed. I write here that drama has always found extreme situations deeply alluring, and the first actual play, which refers directly to the barbaric attack of Hamas, was this play that I'm about to read to you, which is called How to Remain a Humanist After Massacre in 17 Steps by Maya Arad Yasur. And she wrote this play 10 days into the war on the 17th of October. I interviewed her for an article which I wrote about this play, and she told me, it just came out of me, like I really vomited on the paper, and I'd like to read to you 2 scenes from it. Just the next ones just will show you the first artistic reactions which I referred to was this, for example, this picture which was on Facebook, I think, the next day, the 40 beheaded babies, and then next one, the street performances. Okay, these are another graphic examples, the Bibas family. When I speak of street performances and artistic protests, these, for example, was at the Tel Aviv Museum. You see October 20th, just less than 2 weeks afterwards, waiting for the hostages to come, just some street performance which is speaks, I think, very powerfully for itself. And these street performances actually were duplicated in other cities around the world. Derek, I think the other one is from the Parliament Square in London, for example, where they had this kind of performance, with the empty strollers waiting for the little babies to come back. But I want to share with you this dramatic, this display, which, as I said, is named How to Remain a Humanist After a Massacre in 17 Steps. And I think the protagonist here is a woman. It's a one-woman play. And the protagonist is a mother who struggles to take care of both herself and her little children, to process what has just happened and to maintain, mainly to maintain her humanism. On one hand, she is very much aware of her wish to take revenge, even at innocent people of the other side, but also of the need to actually to control these urges and to stick to human moral values and compassion. I wrote in my article analyzing it that she strives to keep her inner mental health in order to refrain from a possible reverse of roles from victim to victimizer in the real outside world. And the play is written in some kind of, in a form of a self-guide book in what we call a post-dramatic style. And I think it's like an emergency treatment. She attempts to depict a moment in time and space when everything is fragile and on the verge of falling apart. And the question is, how do you capture one moment when something collapses and something else struggles to hold on? And I just want to read to you, it's a monologue, as I said, a one-woman show, just two short pieces of it. Very brave, very balanced, I think, very, very surprising. So the prologue and the first scene. The prologue goes like this. 6:30 a.m. A woman is in bed, asleep. The dog is barking. Why? He's probably hearing something from afar. A siren which intensifies like the trickling of the first rain, which all at once turns into a flood. The flood. She jumps out of bed, runs to the next room, tries to wake the children up. They are not waking up, not awake enough to get up and run. She transfers one to the bed of the other and lays over them as a human shield. The dog comes down. She swears and prays, something like, God, please protect my children from those fuckers. The dog is barking again. He's probably hearing the gate opening, because a few seconds later, there are loud bangs on the door. Loud bangs as if someone is looking for shelter from the first rain that became a flood. It's open! The dog is barking. Open up, please, it's me. It's the voice of her neighbor. It's open! Open up, it's me! No, she will not get up now. She is the human shield of her children. That is her role in the world. There is no neighbor in the world that she will abandon her children for, right? Why is this neighbor placing her in this dilemma anyway? All these years of their upbringing prepared her for this moment. Is this a calling? This is a hermetic point in time. This is biology. No one can trump biology. She will not get up now, even if God reveals himself to her and asks her to sacrifice her children for him. And even then she will laugh. They are not Isaac. Open the door, it's me. But the door is open. Why is she not opening it? Open it, open already. Just press down the handle and open it. Why are you shouting like this, Mom? Breaking news. Heavy barrages of missiles in the south and center of the country. Following the barrages, increased readiness of the Air Force and the Southern Command Center. The forecast, a slight drop in temperature. Everything is fine, my sweet boy, she tells him. We have a strong army. Will it win? We have an Iron Dome. Does it surround the sky? Across the border, my child, there are people who simply want to live in peace just as well. Don't forget that, my sweet boy. How to remain a humanist after massacre in 17 simple steps. 1. Turn the TV off. Switch off all media and every social network designed to radicalize your feelings out of capitalist motives. Do not open videos that your friends send to you privately. If they sent something that shocked their souls, they were not your friends to begin with. If you've seen some over-graphic footage of women being raped, elderly women being abducted, or burnt bodies, you will collapse internally, but you must remind yourself, there are mothers on the other side of the fence as well. Step number 2, keep up to date. Ignorance is not a humanist principle, and there is no point in pretending that inhuman things don't happen every day. Every budding humanist knows that the world is not a candy store. Expand your knowledge, read, listen, but only to non-visual media. Number 3, do not listen to male commentators. Do not listen to male commentators with a military background. Do not listen to male commentators with military background and political ambitions. Do not listen to male commentators with a military background, political ambitions, and a silver forelock combed sideways. 4, speak to your friend whose son was abducted, whose mother was burnt alive, whose sister-in-law was brutally raped. You have to and you want to. She is your friend. She needs you. You will think about her from morning till night. You'll be tormented and you won't sleep at night. Don't ask her to see the mothers who are across the fence. She is incapable of that and shouldn't have to. If she succeeds, she is not human, and you believe in the human. You will hang up the phone and feel emotionally and physically drained. You will want to murder anyone who is remotely connected to the person who did this to her. You will hang up the phone and hear his voice clearly, that of the anti-humanist lurking within you, calling you to smash, destroy, demolish every road, every building, every person, every dog who has an arm and a leg in the atrocities you've heard. And if you followed instructions 1 and 2, luckily you did not see. And you will fail to think that you have to reach the thought that there are innocent people as well, that there are people who the terrorists themselves are using as human shield. And you will fail to hear words like human rights and laws of war. At that moment, you will only care about her, your friend, whose childhood landscapes are smeared with blood and semen. This cannot happen again, you will think. Everything must be done so it will never happen again. Everything so it will never happen again to any girl and any mother on either side of any fence. Step number 5, eat pizzas and pastas, chocolate, lots of chocolate, drink alcohol, go back to smoking, shag like an animal, it is human, sleep for 24 hours on sedatives, do hard drugs, do light drugs, anesthetize, sanitize, scroll, punch the wall, but do not forget there are mothers on the other side of the wall as well. And this is just the 5 first steps out of 17, and the play ends with wishing herself and everybody attending, I think, the venue, good luck. How to remain a humanist after what you've been exposed to. I want to conclude with, I can't, speak about Israeli theater without mentioning maybe the most prolific and important Israeli playwright. His name is Hanoch Levin, and I want to read to you one of his sketches. He has been enormously translated. I think all of his plays he wrote, nearly 70 plays, and I think almost all his body of work was translated and staged worldwide. And I want to share with you maybe just this small sketch. He is dealing a lot with dysfunctional families, his characters are pathetically hilarious or hilariously pathetic. He's not a great believer of humankind, but he does it very sarcastically, and it's very funny. And I want to read to you just one short sketch by him, and then we'll conclude. So Hanoch Levin, and it's called 30 Years Later. Once again, it's a phone call. I don't know. I picked all the phone scenes for some reasons. So there is a man calling to a woman. A man picks up the phone and dials. A woman somewhere else picks up the receiver And the conversation goes like this. The man says, "Hello? Yes? Am I speaking to Beba by any chance? Beba speaking. Hello, this is Max. Who? Max. I don't know any Maxes. You do, but perhaps you don't remember. We even thought of getting married once. Oh, Max. Is that really Max? Yes, Max. What's made you call out all of a sudden? It's been, 30 years? More. I was passing through town and I wondered whether you were still waiting. Really? 30 years? Yeah, I thought so. What were you thinking, Max? The time would stand still? I thought. People think, you know. I got married a long time ago, Max. Congratulations. And got widowed. Oh, so you mean you are now and got married again? And did you get widowed? No? Oh. Perhaps you remember a small plastic pouch for small change that I forgot at your place back then? No, after 30 years? I was just passing by and I thought I'd come and pick it up. No, I don't remember any pouch, and if there was one, it must have been lost a long time ago. Pity. It's just that I need it. Okay. So you are saying that you've gotten married and that you also don't have the small pouch for small change. Yes, that's more or less the situation. Because I happened to be passing through town and I thought, okay, so all the best to you, Beba, and goodbye. To you too, Max. To you too. And she hangs the phone. After 30 years, pathetically hilarious, as I said. If you are not available, maybe at least don't humiliate me so much. At least give me a small pouch for small change. No, you are totally, it's a lose-lose situation. You don't get not the woman, not the big prize, and not the smaller one, and that's what it is. And I always tell students when I teach it that we can laugh at them. They look very pathetic, very grotesque, but come on, guys, who didn't find himself, at least once regretting something which he messed up and trying to make up for it, or to try and call you and say, look, what's going on? I was passing through town and maybe we can have a So it's look at them, but the joke is actually about us all, I think. So it's a very, once again, human portrayal of it, I think, or very original look at the human condition in general. Okay, let's conclude with the last slide and this quotation from Nissim Aloni, another Israeli playwright, which I told you that practicing theater is relatively new phenomena to Jewish life, and Israeli playwrights to this day are trying to sell theater, to actually encourage people to come and experience theater. And this is one of the love poems to the practice of theater, one of the most beautiful ones that I know, at least in the Hebrew language. Nissim Aloni writes, "Why theater? What's the best cause for doing theater, to attending theater?" And he says like this: "Ladies and gentlemen, we the actors know that contemporary theater nowadays is, how to say, that is not much. The lighting is no lighting, the dust is dust, and the acting and the mishaps and the audience and the situation. Anyway, you cannot compare it with TV. No. But there is a cafeteria and intermission, and you happen to talk to people. Yes, that is true. And still, and I insist still, only here at the theater, night after night, once the curtain falls, the dead come back to life, take the knife out of their heart, wipe out the blood, take off their death makeup. All this you'll find only here with us in the theater. Theater is an ongoing celebration of life. Nobody dies, at least in the theater. And I think coming from such a conflict zone, but I think even globally, this is such a good reminder of what theater is all about. Even the dead will come back for the ovation, and nobody pays the full price. And this is the place, I think, to celebrate life, only in the theater. Outside the theater, nobody can guarantee what will happen. Thank you very much.